Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Appreciate everybody paying attention, listening, joining, subscribing, doing whatever you have to do to pick up our show and our content. Appreciate that. The little clips on Instagram, Facebook, or on TikTok, we're all over that place. And LinkedIn gets some of this play too. Last week, Lee Boyce was back from Toronto. Trainer Talk with Lee. Lee is he's an outstanding trainer from Toronto. Has been on the show about 15 times. Written, spoke, teaches, does all kinds of stuff. He's a big, tall guy. So if you're a tall person and you're thinking about getting into your fitness or whatever, he wrote a book with Melody Schoenfeld, and just Google it. I don't have the title in front of me, but Google that because he talks about levers and angles for taller people. And because, well, some of the movements that you're going to do in the gym, depending on your body, it just depends. That's how well you're going to be able to do them. We'll talk more about this today because we have another one of my best friends for a long, long time. A guy I owe so much to. Tom Mitchell will be with us. I'm going to call this one Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor. You're going to learn why I'm calling it the Spin Doctor because we're going to get into that here in just a second. But Tom Mitchell, born in Detroit, grew up in the Downriver area. That's kind of where I was born, down in Trenton, Michigan. That's where I was born. And came to MSU as a junior in 1973. So we were just talking about this pre-show, everybody, how he's got almost 50 years at the university. And he looks great. He's doing great. And he is a perfect example. And let me tell you guys, this is the model guy for the retirement zone because he's done so many different things at the university, his career. We're going to talk about all these different things, what precipitated all that, because he came from Alpena Community College, graduated, and got another degree, graduated from Michigan State in 75, and then got another one in 77, and started working at the College of Ag a long time ago. Then he moved over to other things, and we'll talk about it. I'm going to let him talk about all this stuff because he's done it all. But the one thing about Tom Mitchell that we're going to really focus on today is he's a trainer. He was my trainer and is my trainer. He's the one guy who taught me. He helped me get into the NASM certification. For me, it's been 16 years now because I just recertified. And so I appreciate that very much. Gave me his books a long time ago. I've interviewed his daughter, know his wife, and we know the story really well. I'm going to let Tom share it more and more because he's got new big things happening with his retirement zone. And I'm so excited, so excited for you. Hey, buddy, welcome to the show. Finally.
Hey, Tom.
15 years.
Great to finally be here.
Dude.
We've talked about this for a long time. And, every time we see each other in the gym, got to do it. And we're running out of time here, so to speak.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's your departure from the university in this phase, because you're never going to leave MSU. You might be a little farther away, but you'll never leave MSU.
That's right.
But let's talk about, doing This Is Your Life. Talk about the fam. You got big things happening all over the place with your life. And talk about your daughter and your wife and just go for it, man. Talk about your mom and whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead and get warmed up. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, I mean, spent all this time here. Love being around the university. We have had season basketball tickets and hockey tickets and football tickets since I started working here in 77. That's not counting my undergraduate days. Wharton Center, starting at IM East, hitting IM East. I think it's been 25 years or close to that when you and I bumped into each other there. And then
do you remember who introduced us?
Patty Omke.
Patty.
Wasn't it?
It was Patty and then Nick Tiarina, but it was both of them because Nick Tiarina brought me over to that facility first off, and then Patty Emke, who is one of our good friends as well. She was the one who introduced me to you, and it's from there on, man. It was like two brothers from different mothers.
Yeah, it was great, and it was kind of one of those things where, and this is important for people who are trying to get to the gym, frankly. I would see you there, you would see me there. And if one of us didn't show up, it's like, well, where's the other Tom? So you felt like if I don't show up, I'm not upholding my end of the bargain. So, and it kind of became that way. You felt that if you were going to work out, it was important that you show up because he can see you, you can see him, and you feed off of that. So, that was really important.
Talk about your daughter, Leah, because you got her sort of pivoting into this. She's been a professional dancer and all that, but share the story of Leah and your wife. Please go right ahead.
Yeah, she was a professional ballet dancer. She went to college at the University of Hartford. They had the Hart School for Performing Arts there. And after she got her degree, she danced professionally. COVID hit, and people couldn't perform in front of audiences anymore. And she was looking at her career. What am I going to do? How am I going to make some money? And a lot of it because of what she saw me doing throughout her life. I guess I'd been personal training for probably 10 years by then. She said, "Oh, Dad, how do I become a personal trainer? I can, become a personal trainer, work for a gym, make some money while I'm not making any money being a dancer." And so she did. And then she found out how much she really liked it. She loves coaching. She loves teaching. She's got a degree in dance pedagogy, so she teaches as well. She has a degree in teaching. But again, studios were closed. Says, what do I do? So she got the personal training certificate, and then she decided, well, I could do a little more with this. And she decided to go back to college and get her master's degree in strength and conditioning coaching. And she did that in 2 years. Got that master's degree and had a year internship at Holy Cross College. She worked with football. She worked with a couple of other sports. And then she got a job in the real world when she graduated, and loving it. She's a great coach. People love her. She loves the students, athletes. So it's been a real match.
There's a lot of you and a lot of Lori in there, your wife. Talk about Lori as well, because Leah she's a tremendous talent. She's been on the radio program, everybody. You can find that show if you want to go listen to her story as well. But there's a lot of both of you in her.
Yes, that's right. That's for sure. Leah has always been one that doesn't give up on things, and she sees something and she embraces it. And she's got a real loyalty, and which really helps with the coaching thing, because you want to be able to stick with your players, you want to stick with your coaches, you want to stick with your school, and when you have that loyalty, it makes it easier to go in and do your job every day.
For sure. Give us a quick snapshot on Lori and her impact on you and your family.
On Lori, oh my goodness, Tom, she's the backbone of our family. She really is, and she. We do a really good job, I think, of sharing a lot of the day-to-day things in the house, around the house, that sort of thing. We've got a really good partnership in that way. But boy, if you want something done, you just go to Lori. Whether it's you need her to talk to somebody, or there's an issue with a credit card statement, or if there's something, I can talk to people and say, well, if we can't resolve this here, Lori's going to have to call you. And so quite often, and she doesn't do it in a mean way, but it's like, no, firm. We need action. We have to get this done. How do we get this done? And so now she retired from the state of Michigan. She was in the Office of Retirement Services. She had like 85 employees report to her, but she is now she's now working as a consultant for a company in the same line of business. So she's doing great.
It's crazy. And I'm going to take this through to break here, but let me reset this thing.
Yep.
Tom Mitchell is with us, calling this one Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. We haven't got that far yet, because this is a long story about Tom Mitchell and our relationship and everything that he's done at Michigan State. And Michigan State University is very fortunate to have a guy of his caliber for 50 years doing all kinds of different things all over the place at the university. And we're going to talk about that when we come back, because it's all about the retirement zone, staying active, getting busy, staying busy, making your friends. How did he do it? And he's still crushing it. Again, Tom Mitchell's here. Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us, listening to us, watching us, however you're doing it. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, our website, or just on any of the players. I mean, we're on all the big players. So, or if you're getting us on broadcast radio, great. You're listening to the audio version of it. Thanks to Mitch Anderson doing that audio thing over in Muskegon. And then we got Vanessa doing all the video stuff. And if you need a virtual assistant, not that I'm trying to get rid of my virtual assistant because she's the bomb, but Vanessa, she could probably pick up some more hours for you. And if you're interested, let me know, because send me a personal message on that. I will be happy to connect you with her. I have to say, because sponsor of these next two segments is Brock Fletcher and the selling team of Keller Williams Realty, without whom we cannot do this radio program, because to be a business, you have to make money. There's just this thing, instead of having a hobby, you have to have somebody who's a sponsorship, and you pay your bills. And that's how we do it with Brock Fletcher and the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. And you know the story of how we sold Big House Holt, how Brock introduced himself at the radio station when I was over there years ago, and told me the bad news that we needed to sell our forever home and get out of there. And because we had all kinds of payments and costs and all this carrying cost thing, he taught me all this stuff with real estate. That's why you want to get a hold of Brock or the team, anybody over there, because they're the best. And it's just, I'm telling you, we have about 26 different episodes on the website on the reality of real estate. If you've got questions, if you want to hear Brock, you want to hear some of the other people we've had from his team. We've had students on with him. He's a huge MSU guy. Call these numbers. 517-853-6408 is the office number, or you can call 517-303-3262. Text, leave a voicemail. That is Brock's cell phone number. Go online to kwsellingteam.com and sell your home without hassles, just like we did. I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to Joan Wright, one of our listeners in Williamston, who's a customer of Brock's and a very good friend. And also I want to say what up to Stacy Robinson and to Mikey Deadman and the rest of the team at the selling team. They're the best. We love them. And they're the great. Sell your home, again, as I say, sell your home without hassles, like we did. Today, one of my very, very good friends from the university, Tom Mitchell's with me. He's been a trainer of mine. I remember having a conversation with Tom back in the day before I got certified. I'll tell you this story in a second here, everybody, but we're calling this one Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. Do you remember the time, Tom, when you pulled me in your office at I'm West and you were doing my eval, and you said, because I was at about 190 plus pounds, and you were like, yeah, you could tend to lose, a little bit. And I'm like, ain't happening. And you know what? that was like 15, 20 years ago. I don't even know, before I got certified. So it had to be like 16, 17 years ago. And I looked at you and I was like, you remember you're doing the calipers, you're doing all that stuff. How important, and I've asked my other trainer friends too, but you've been in the business a long time. You've done probably thousands of sessions, taught thousands of classes. How important on the very beginning, when somebody's setting up a trainer, getting with a trainer, is that eval?
Well, it lets everybody know where they're standing, as far as, quite often there's a perception that we are in a better place than we actually are, whether it's weight wise or whether it's cardio wise,
like I was,
or anything else. Yeah, right. So, and for a trainer as well, once we do the eval, and it's not just measuring the body fat and taking blood pressure and all that stuff and asking questions about your health, what medications are you taking, but it's also what you can do in the gym. Going out in the gym, let's just try this, let's just try that. What you like doing, what you hate doing. There's some things, if you hate cardio, I'm sorry, we're going to have to find something that you don't hate as much as another. Because if you can do cardio, it's a darn good idea to do it, right? But if you hate doing push-ups, there's a whole lot of other exercises that can simulate a push-up, instead of saying, oh, no, we're going to make you do something you just hate doing, so that every time we get to that in the workout, you can't wait to get over with it, or you're just going to say, you know what, next week I'm just not going to show up. So, that's a lot of it. There's also the rapport between the trainer and the, I guess we'll call him client, in my case, when I work with somebody. And And I always told them, look, we're going to have this meeting, and if you don't feel like you'd be comfortable working with me, then please find somebody else, and I'll help you find somebody else. It's just like anything else. It's just like, basketball players being recruited by coaches. You go to the coach that you think you can work with the best. Well, so much. It's changed a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. You're going to go with that place that makes you the most comfortable, and that person that makes you the most comfortable. So the eval can cover a whole lot of different things, and they're all important.
And that's absolutely a fact. And this is something we talked with my guest last week, Lee Boyce, about the importance of that rapport that you develop with your trainer, because the trainer needs to get to know you. You need to get to know your trainer, and what is your compelling why. All right, let's pivot back. We're going to go back and forth between training and Tom's career with his refinement zone. Again, resetting this thing. Tom Mitchell's here, Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. Let's talk about your career a little bit. I got about 2.5 minutes to go before we go to break here, and I'll give you the signal. But
Right.
Talk about your career as you started at MSU, because there was a lot before you got into the physical fitness side of things, and that's very interesting too, and how that helped you as a human, as a dad, as a husband, just still be you. Please talk about your career.
Well, I started out as a publication editor in the College of Ag. I had a degree in English, and it worked out, and it really worked out in my favor for what I was doing. And I worked for Extension and Ag Experiment Station, and I did that for about 20 years. And I really did fall into the job. I was very fortunate. I was an intern, and somebody went on maternity leave, and they liked me, and they said, would you step in, take her place while she's gone? And she told me, she said, I don't think I'm coming back, so don't screw up because they might hire you. I got hired. 20 years later, we had big cuts in a College of Ag, and they were laying off people. And of the 4 publication editors, I was the lowest on the totem pole with 20 years experience. And a job opened up at purchasing, because a guy named Bill Atkinson, who was the buyer of printing at that time, worked in university printing. He said, I hear you're going to get laid off. I will retire if you think you want this job. He actually did that because he was getting ready to retire anyway. But I went in, met the director, they hired me, and I finished my career in the purchasing department. And at the very end, I was buying all of the athletic equipment, including the video board at Breslin, the first one that was in there, and all the ag equipment. Anyway, and I had my finger on the pulse of everything because I was in charge of the facilities team. We did all of the construction and renovation on campus. So met a lot of interesting people. Venny Gore. That's how I got to meet Venny Gore. So anyway, kind of my career.
We'll continue this because this is the beginning of the whole story. And I'm glad that you brought up Venny Gore. I met Venny Gore through you and through the spin classes, because we're going to talk about that here pretty quick, everybody. Tom Mitchell's here. He is Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. And you'll find out why in just a second here, because we're going to talk about a lot of it. And why is it important for you to understand that these group fitness classes might be your ticket? Again, Tom Mitchell's here, Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tom Matt Show. Thanks again for joining us. I appreciate you and love all the attention that we get from all of our fans and people who like the show. Subscribe to the show, comment on the show. I've been getting a lot of hate lately from my short videos I do on the national championship with the basketball thing, with the University of Go Blow, that is, as I call them. No offense. It's all in love. It's all Big Ten. I want to give some testimonial action to my buddy Brock. I love doing the testimonial stuff so much for the selling team. Again, phone numbers, 517-853-6408. Brock's cell phone number is 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262 is Brock's cell phone number. Leave him a message. He will call you back. Text him. He really appreciates that, going in that direction, just texting him. kwsellingteam.com is a great website. You can go to my website, tommattshow.com. The bottom of that website is where you will find some of our sponsors and friends, and you can just click on through those banners and make it one-stop shopping. If you want to do it that way, that's fine too. Remember, sell your home without hassles. But this testimonials is great. It's from Becky from East Lansing, and I may have done this one before, but I really, really like this testimonial, so I'll do it again. Maybe if I have, then whatever. This is from Becky from East Lansing. We were always kept in the loop when our new properties became available. That's important with this real estate stuff, you guys. Believe me, take it from me. Take it from my guest today, Tom Mitchell. He's gone through this stuff recently too. We found the information provided was very accurate, bold type, and helpful, bold type, in continuing the process of making an informed decision for purchasing vacant property. Becky from East Lansing. Brock's team, they're all specialists. They don't cannibalize each other's work. They have sellers agents, they have buyers agents, they have office staff, they have very specific team members who do professional duties. So again, go where the pros are. Go where we went. Or just call him and get some tips. He'll be happy to help you out because he's just a great guy. Brock Fletcher, another brother from another mother. 517-303-3262. That's the cell phone number. Give him a text. All right, Tom Mitchell's here. Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor. Been trying to get Tom for a long time, and I'm glad I did finally. We'll get him more going forward for sure because we're getting close to what we're going to talk about here. So you're talking about your career there, big boy, and you had 20 years over here, you had 20 years over there. Was that right? Yeah. I mean, with purchasing. So, but in between, pretty close. Yeah. And so in between, you're doing other things as well. Now, let me ask you before we start shifting gears to the next phase of your life, how important for you in your retirement zone, because you've heard me talk about the retirement zone for years now, because you've known me for 25 years. It's like, how important has your career been for facilitating how you live your life now? Because, we're not spring chickens anymore, but I see you and I see you from 25 years. You don't look any different to me than you did 25 years ago. And that's a testament to your physical fitness and everything that you do. How important was it for you in your life?
As far as my career goes, or just
how important was it just to stay active when you were staying active with your career?
Active.
You never slowed down.
So there was a time that I did only because so I blew out my knee playing high school football. No ACL, right? They didn't fix stuff back then. They just took things out. And for years, I kept doing all the things I wanted to do. I played basketball, I played tennis, I learned how to play squash, and I was doing all this stuff. And softball, it was taking a beating on my knee. Even golf, the whole process of swinging. And after a while, I had to quit playing basketball. Then I had to quit playing tennis. And then I had to quit playing, on and on and on. And I wasn't getting any cardio. I was, as anybody does, I was gaining a few pounds. But I said, man, I got to do something. And I didn't lift weights back then. I got a mailing from the IM. And it was from IM East. And it was a thing for faculty and staff. And you could buy 5 personal training sessions, get an evaluation and a membership to the gym, and it would cost you X amount of money. Pretty cheap, And I was working in Ag Hall. I could walk to Ag Hall and back at lunchtime and do my workout. So I said, well, I'm going to give this a shot. I got to do something, right? So I started going over there, and I met with the trainer and met Patty at the same time. And it wasn't long after I met you over there. And I started getting into this, and it's like, okay, I felt stronger. I felt more alert. I had more energy, and it was great. So, that part was very important. Then I started coaching soccer, girls soccer. My oldest daughter, Michelle, was playing in the Langsburg area. And so I started helping out the coach, probably U9. And then at U13, I was given an opportunity to be the head coach for USSF team. And so I got to do this. But at the same time, I got these young ladies, and I'm, in my around 50 probably early 50s. It's like, I got to look fit if I'm going to tell these girls what to do. And I had the problem with the knee, so it's like, what am I going to do? And one of the guys whose daughter came to practice, he would drop her off, get on his bike, and go pedaling off during the whole practice. And I asked him, I said, well, how's this working for you? He said, oh, it's great. There's no impact on my knees. It's great cardio. So I said, well, let me give that a shot. So I went out and rode 5 miles. Like, oh, that didn't hurt. Then I went out and rode 10 miles. It was like, oh, that didn't hurt. And then I started gradually increasing it. And then I got a road bike. I started doing some MS rides. My sister has MS, and so we're fundraisers. And they were 200-mile weekends. It was like, well, yeah, that hurts, but it's fun. It was great cardio. You do 100 miles a day. That's just fun stuff as far as I was concerned. And so the whole time now, the way I'm feeling about myself, the way I'm out there on the coach on the field, showing the girls, hey, I'm still doing it. Don't give up. You can do it. You're 13, 14, 15, 16. I did it through U19, but you can continue on once you get through high school, through college. Don't ever give up. Just keep it going. So, I tried to be a mentor in that regard. Somebody letting other people know that physical fitness is a lifelong thing, and it doesn't have to quit just because you get married, get a job, have children, that sort of thing.
Just got to adapt.
So that's kind of how it all started.
Well,
and then Patty Oemke, I was in the gym at IME so much, and I was like, I love coaching so much. What would it take to be a personal trainer? And I asked her about it, and she said, well, you can get NASM or ACE, you can get a certification. And if you get certified, I'll hire you part-time. All right. Can't turn that down. And that's how the whole personal training thing started.
And that's where, I kind of came in because Tom had already got his personal training certification. And I was new to the university. I came over there in like 99, 2000. And so put the timeline together. But as we move forward and I'm going to take it to break here. So we're going to pick it up after break, everybody. The spin doctor era, we're going to call it the spin doctor era of Tom Mitchell's life is about to begin here. And it's going to be a very interesting time because I was participating in his classes for many years. I mean, and when he first approached me, I remember the day because we were in the gym on the gym floor and he had been training me so we've known each other for a long time. We were at the new gym at IM West. And he said, you got to come do my spin class. I'm like, what the heck's a spin class? We do this biking to music and all this. And it's like, I don't think so, man. I don't know if I want to do that. But the whole thing is, everybody, just try something new. And when we come back from break, we're going to talk about this new thing that came along because we're talking right in the very infancy of spin. I mean, there was no spin in those days. Again, resetting everything. Tom Mitchell, Mr. Sparty, the spin doctor is with us. Tom Mitchell's been my trainer forever. He taught me so much. He's been my friend forever. We talk about everything under the sun. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
This segment of The Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Tom Mitchell, the ultimate trainer's with me. I mean, this guy's been around so much. So many of my friends are from the gym. And this guy he's a perfect example. And now he's another perfect example of the refinement zone. And if you missed any portion of today's episode, go back and get the podcast at our website, tommattshow.com. And you can click on any of the podcast feeds that you use, either Spotify or Apple or Google or whichever one you use. I use Spotify a lot, and so do a lot of other people. So you can pick that up because we're talking about his refinement journey and his career. Tom, how would you like people to connect with you? Speaking engagements, coaching, advice. You're going to probably do some virtual coaching too. I mean, you're just a really active guy, so I don't see you stopping. Now you're just going to be moving. We're going to talk about that here shortly. How would you like people to connect with you?
Email address is great. I check my email all the time and I respond to it. So my email is mitche27 at msu.edu.
Say that again for me, please.
mitche27 at msu.edu.
I'll put that in the recap, everybody, so that you can, if you want to get a hold of Tom, you can email him directly, mitche27 at msu.edu. I'll make sure I had that correct. All right, so we're talking about his retirement journey, because Tom Mitchell's retirement journey, unbeknownst to me, we've been doing a radio show now. This is our 15th season, but it's the trainer thing that came along in 2009, 2010, when Tom helped me with all of that. These things have been slowly coming together. But Tom Mitchell has been very influential in his own retirement zone. And now, in your training capacity, you got with Patty. She hired you. You got your NASM certification. Then you gave me your books. And I used those books to get my own certification a couple of years later. Now this spin thing comes along. How did that all, because you just talked about the biking and how that with your knee issue, and that's very interesting. I remember talking to you a long time ago and you were saying that spin saved you 5 years on your knee. Do you remember that?
Yeah, at least. I'm going to say at least. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So that's just something to think about, everybody, when you're managing, coming from me, with both of my knees now replaced. He's had a knee replacement himself. And when I went to, Thomas was one of the last guys I saw before I had my surgery. And and this is the thing with a good trainer. When I asked him, I said, what's it like? He just looked at me and he gave me that long look and he just said, it hurts. And he's just straight. You know what? It did.
It hurts. Yeah, it does.
But it's so good when it's done. I mean, when it's better, it's good. All right, so let's continue the conversation about the spin, because I think it's fascinating how you fell into this. See how we manage things, and then all of a sudden these other opportunities come along. You weren't a biker to begin with. Go ahead.
In 2005, I got the personal training certificate that summer. I started working at the IM that summer. And I had actually retired the first time from MSU. I retired twice from MSU, but that's a different story. Anyway, so 2005, we got the personal training certificate. That fall, we hired somebody, the IM did, for the first time to run a group exercise program, because we had just opened the gym, the current fitness center at IM West, right? So now that next winter, we were going to start the group exercise program. And I was on the interview committee, and we hired Rebecca Kegler. And so Rebecca was starting a spinning class, and I got to know her during the interview process and when she got hired and just talking with her. And she says, I'm thinking about starting a group cycling class. Oh, I said, oh, that's great. She said, well, you ride, don't you? And yeah. And I was riding 2,500, 3,000 miles a year, and she said, well, we're going to bring in a professional from Schwinn to do certification. Would you like to be involved in that? I said, I'd love to be involved in that. And so that's how I got certified. So 2005 summer, I got the personal training. January of 2006, I got the certification through Schwinn. And the person certifying us, she was a professional road biker. So great credibility. And I taught the very first morning class ever. And it was either the first or second ever class at IM West and at MSU for group cycling. And it just took off from there. I started 3 mornings a week, 6:15 a.m. And it was a 50-minute class. All the other ones were 45. I thought, if you're going to get up at 6:15, I'm going to give you 5 more minutes. And it was great for me because I had to go to every class. I couldn't, I didn't get much sleep last night, or I'm tired. It's like, no, you got to go, bud. And
there's nobody picking up that shift for you.
Oh yeah. And so that's how it all started. And it has been fantastic. The number of people that I've met, from undergraduates to, we had for a couple of years, people from medical school were coming to every class. The students, faculty, staff like yourself, like Venny. I've been to 4 weddings from young ladies who I just met in class, and a young man. In fact, they got married. They were in my class together and ended up getting married, and been invited to a couple of others, have lifelong relationships. Young lady was coming up. She's living in she's from Traverse City, going up to visit her parents, had her 2 kids with her. And on the way up, she said, "Hey, I'll be in town tonight. Can I come by and say hello?" And it's been 18 years since she's been in my class. So for me, it has kept me young. Anyway, it's just been super from a personal point of view from me. And I hope for a lot of the people who've come into class, they're building some lifetime, just some lifetime skills that they can continue that will keep them going, well into their 70s, 80s, and 90s, you hope.
Let me tell you, man, let me jump in here and fill in some gaps here. Now, the 615 class, everybody, it took me a minute to get into this class. It takes people a lot of minutes to get into the class. It's one of those. You're going to be dedicated. I mean, you're getting up early, and we're all working. I mean, we're talking the students, but the big thing was we're in Tom's class, and when I started doing the class, you kind of catch this fever. Now, set up the class because you haven't really told how you do your classes, but Tom's classes, he's very into his music, and talk about how you program your music and what you usually like to use.
So a lot of it is, it's pop. You'll hear it all the time, whether it's, Lady Gaga or somebody, people, things like that. But when I learned the certification, it was the person from Schwinn. She was very big on you ride to the beat of the music. Because a lot of people, when they hear music, they hear an automatic beat, right? Some people don't, and that's fine. For those people that don't, they really don't care. But for those people that do hear that beat, if you don't go to the beat of the music, suddenly it becomes just noise. It's like, what are we doing? Okay, it's like learning how to dance. If you're going to dance a waltz, 3-beat waltz, you don't use a 4-beat foxtrot to learn the waltz, right? So if you hear that beat, that's what you do. And beats vary from 60 to 70 RPM for a hill climb. And find somebody to find 80% of their max. They'll have to figure that out. I can guide them and tell them what I'm doing. And then there'll be road speed 90 to 100, 110 RPM or beats per minute. That's how they translate. And, I say, okay, find 50% of your max. And as we're riding, you go up a gear, you go down a gear. For hill climbs on the upbeat of the music, you stand up, you pound it, you don't change gear, but you pound it and you sit back down at the end of the upbeat. Anyway, that's how I run my class. And it's been pretty successful. I feel pretty good about, I had 2 young ladies this morning. We were leaving class. They said, "You're our favorite instructor." And it makes, as long as you're feeling relevant and you feel like you're getting people the workout that they need and they're enjoying it at 6:15 in the bloody morning, it makes it worthwhile. That's why I keep doing it. It's gonna be hard to give it up for now, but
I got to ask you, and we're gonna go to break. Well, it's just going to be a transition. I don't think you'll ever give it up, and we'll talk about the giving it up. What Tom's referring to here in the last segment here, everybody. But I'm going to reset this thing. Tom Mitchell's with us, Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor. Now you know why I'm titling him the Spin Doctor, because he started the spin program at Michigan State University 20 years ago, and it's very, very popular. Matter of fact, when the new building opens, you should see the spin room, because all thanks to Tom Mitchell and his repeat classes and now all these other classes we'll talk about when we come back. Again, Tom Mitchell's here, Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor. You're looking for some fitness ideas, this is the show you want to listen to. This is the Tom Match.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Match Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. If you're picking up this segment, then you're getting the fifth segment, which is my favorite segment of the show, because it's only broadcast on a couple of radio stations, WKAR being one, Sundays at 5. That's where Joan Wright from Williamson's, I mentioned her name earlier, listens to us, and so do a lot of other people across mid-Michigan. Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor with Tom Mitchell. This is a good show because Tom Mitchell's been a friend, and I've been trying to get him on this radio program for about 15 years now, and I finally got him. Got his daughter first, Leah first. I wanted to ask you, before I forget, I wanted to ask you about with Leah and her dance, because we talked about her being a professional dancer. The component of dance and flexibility that go into training, I know I'm pivoting, which people are used to me pivoting like this. How important is it, in your opinion? You've been a trainer now for 25, 30 years. You've been a group fitness instructor for 20 years. How important is that flexibility aspect for people, especially as we're growing older?
There's probably, especially as we're growing older, there's probably nothing more important. Getting that stretching in before and after, and it's hard to do from a standpoint of, okay, I was just here doing my workout for an hour and a half, whatever, and now I've got to stretch. Oh, but I want to go do this now. I've got to go to Meyer. I got to go to whatever. You've got to take the time. You just take the time and get those muscles stretched out and that blood flowing, and recovery. And that's the best way for recovery. And when you don't have that flex, it makes it harder to get out of bed. It makes it harder to walk around. Life becomes more difficult. And it's difficult enough.
Ain't that the truth?
Without making it more difficult, and not, you just help yourself out and learn stretching techniques. There are lots of good ones available all over YouTube, the internet. Just find somebody that has good credentials. But if you watch professional athletes, high-level college athletes, and what their strength and conditioning coaches do with them as far as getting them stretched out and getting them ready to perform, or after the performance is done, the sport is done, getting them to cool down so they don't, whether it's cramp up or lose that flexibility. So
one of the things I learned
big deal
throughout my career as a trainer was to, and I picked up from doing my sideline work at with football, watching the trainers you're talking about, watching the athletic trainers working with the football players and how they would stretch these big men with their lower body, and how they would use their legs and how they would pivot and use and lean and use leverage to stretch legs. And I developed a little program. And the people that I work with, and I don't work with a lot of people. I do mostly my stuff is media, but the people that I do work with, they love when I stretch their legs. It's like, it hurts, but it's very effective. So if you can find a trainer that will do that for you guys,
it extends your range of motion. And, the wider your range of motion, the more things physically you're able to accomplish. Right. And as we do get older, that range of motion decreases. And I don't care, for most people, I don't care how much you stretch or exercise, but do you want it to decrease a lot, or do you want it to decrease just a little bit over time? And that's the difference. And you're just going to be able to stay more active and be able to continue to do the things you like to do, whether it's walking or running or biking or swimming, or any activities that improve your cardio, improve your strength, and give you a longer life, let's say, and a happier life, as far as I'm concerned.
I like to use this analogy, Tom. Tom Mitchell's our guest today, everybody. Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor, awesome trainer, great guy, just a wonderful, wonderful cat. But I've always kind of leaned on the analogy of is exercise and fitness as being the fountain of youth. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and I don't want to say I'm kind of an example of that.
You are,
but I keep being told that. So at some point you have to, you say, well, okay, maybe that is working for me because I'm still going out and doing a lot of the things that I like to do. I do a lot of things outdoors, whether it's fishing, waterfowl hunting, even still ice fishing. It's, I still like to do it. And being able to keep the weight off certainly helps my joints, helps my back, helps my ability to move.
How important is strength training in your opinion, Mr. Trainer?
So what strength training is going to do for you makes your muscles stronger, right? Not necessarily bigger. Women in particular aren't going to necessarily get big like guys, but they're going to get very strong. Stronger your bones are, the stronger the attachment is to your to bones. Stronger your muscles are, right? The stronger the attachment to the bones. Bones have to get stronger as well. Wards off osteoporosis. And I mean, how important is that? I mean, you think about it. That's a really big deal. And but one of the interesting things I've noticed in the gym too, and I think we can talk about this in future shows, the number of young women now in the gym compared to 20 years ago when I started, and the number of confident young women in the gym by themselves doing their thing. And it's very interesting. The guys in the gym at the same time, just leaving them alone.
The young women that we see all the time in the college environment have progressed so far, and they're so good. I go to some of these young women sometimes, and I get to know them when you can see they're good at their lifts. So these Olympic lifts, especially the Olympic lifts, they're really, really good at this stuff. I mean, very, very good. So don't be afraid to make friends with people, get out there and ask questions. Because the gym members, the regulars, they will want to help you. Okay, I want to, again, pivot here because we only got about 3 or 4 minutes to go here.
Yeah.
Talk about your relocation and things that are happening in your life. You got big things happening.
Oh my gosh.
Your retirement zone. Go ahead, condense this down and give me.
So after well, Lori and I have been married now. It's almost 41 years. And 38 years ago, a little over 38 years ago, we built a house. We had a house built in Langsburg. First house we ever owned. And we've lived here 38 years, raised our kids here. Grandbabies and our parents are here once a week for dinner still. And we have just sold our home and are moving to a place on Duck Lake, just south of Traverse City in Interlaken. So it's a big change. We've always wanted to be on the water. We're finally going to do it. We aren't going to be snowbirds. We don't think we're going to be snowbirds. We still like winters, believe it or not. And anyway, in 2.5 weeks, yeah, we're out of here.
2.5 weeks.
So
2.5 weeks after 50 years at the university. It's good timing for you, but you're still going to be around.
Right, and we'll still have some of those tickets. We won't be able to go to every game or most games, but we'll still have tickets to games. We'll still come down. We'll still see our friends at the tailgates. We just obviously have a lot of people in the area we're going to miss, but there are a lot of people in the area that can't wait to come up and see their new bedrooms, as a couple of people have said so far.
Of course. I mean, it's just the next transition. This is the whole thing about the retirement zone, everybody.
Right.
Don't be afraid to make these changes. We've had to do it with our stuff too. And it's challenging. It's a little scary, but don't let fear dominate.
It's all of those things.
Don't let fear dominate your life, everybody. You got to look it straight on and take it on. So just go by our advice. Tom, I need to get a takeaway from you because we're going to run out of time here. The show's almost up. What would you like to have your 2-minute takeaway be for your first episode on the Tom Matt Show?
Oh gosh. Just do it. I don't want to quote Nike, but I mean, just don't be afraid to do it. And don't be afraid just because it's hard that you can't do it. If you have to take baby steps to start, take baby steps. I tell people, especially the people who are 50, 60 years old who I've worked with, and they're really out of shape. I said, don't be in a hurry. It's taken you 60 years to get in the place you are now. If it takes you 5 years to get, or 6 years to get to the place you want to be, that's only 10% of the life you've lived so far.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and you can get there. You just be consistent and just do it.
Show up. All right, let me wrap this thing up here.
Yeah, and also finding people in the gym that you can be friends with and be accountable to, and they can be accountable to you. I think that's just a cool thing to do.
It is a cool thing to do, and you can make really good friends. It's like my friend Tom Mitchell, who's been my guest today, known each other for 25 years. It was all through the gym. Everything was through the gym. When you come back, we'll talk more about the relationships that we established and all of the other things that are going on in the gym, but I got to wrap this bad boy. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests like a Tom Mitchell. Topics or issues, please let us know. Sponsorships are available, but there's got to be a fit. Send us a note. TomMattShow.com is our website. Send us a note over there on the contact box. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Close every episode with that. Thanks again to my brother from another mother, Tom Mitchell. I mean that sincerely. He is Mr. Sparty, the Spin Doctor. Sandy, Brock Fletcher, Mikey Deadman, Stacy, everybody else over at the selling team. We will talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to be of service to you through our show. Thank you again to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa. We are out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Arc of All.